and welcome back to a new mini series I'm doing on my channel all about childhood programming, specifically from Disney movies. So I'm going to be diving into different characters and sharing the ways that their characteristics, the things they did or said, influenced your subconscious programming. And if that sounds extremely wordy, I apologize. This is actually so transformative because, as you hopefully know by this point, but maybe not, your subconscious runs the show in your life, and it's something that forms up until about 7 or 8 years old, where it's absorbing every single thing in your environment like a big sponge that's taking things in and then creating your perception of reality, your version of truth based upon that. And so, if, like me, you grew up watching a lot of Disney movies, there is so much influence around this, and it impacts how you see yourself, how you see the world. And because our thoughts shape our reality, um, this is really key to become aware of and to start to shift so that you can create a better reality for yourself. So, today we are going to be, again, I don't have my feet on the ground. Okay, I think I'm trying to get a little bit more straight here. Okay, facing the camera. Today we're going to be diving into the evil stepmother from Cinderella because this is a really archetypal example of the lower feminine energy and how she shows up. And so if you are a woman who struggles with confidence, who has a fear of showing up fully and shining bright, if you dim or hide or hold back, whether it is in your physical appearance and like letting yourself be beautiful, letting yourself be seen and witnessed for who you are, or whether it is in characteristics and things that you bring to the world. Like the evil queen in Cinderella, not the evil queen, the evil stepmother in Cinderella was really this extremely jealous archetype, right? And the lower feminine energy is something that doesn't want to see someone else shine because she's so unhappy in herself that she wants to bring everyone down to match her. And instead of taking power back and creating her own happiness or, making the changes, doing the inner work, doing the outer work to change her reality and have the things that she wants, instead of literally empowering herself in her reality, she instead is judging and taking or condemning or suppressing someone else in hopes that it's going to lift her up. And we see this very typically in a lot of different characteristics, a lot of different characters, sorry, where they are jealous, judgmental. It's kind of like the mean girl vibe, right? And if this was something that you saw as a child and experienced, then she was terrifying. I don't know about you. You can let me know in the comments. I was like very scared of the evil stepmother. And the stepsisters, right? They were just so catty and gossipy and mean. And it created an unconscious fear that it wasn't safe to be myself. It wasn't safe to be seen. It wasn't safe to trust other women or have friendships. And what happens is, let's just look at the base level. If everyone in that generation, for example, was watching these movies, and you're seeing that this is the normal way that women act with gossip, with drama, with like tearing Cinderella down, right? This beautiful, kind hearted, nice soul isn't safe to be herself because other women are jealous of it. And so there's competition and all these things. Then you are inherently learning, and your subconscious is holding on to this kind of belief that that's how the world is going to respond to you. And so unconsciously, you end up feeling like it's not safe for you to show up fully. It's not safe for you to have the attention or be in the spotlight. Think of the ways that when Cinderella was all dressed up and at the ball gown and everything, at the ball in her gown is what I meant to say. Um, when she's like taking up space and being seen, it ended up creating a lot of chaos, right? The safest place for her and the place to avoid more drama from the stepmother and the stepsisters was to hide, to suppress, to just be the cleaner, be running around, the people pleaser, making sure they're all happy, not rocking the boat, right? All these different ways that she was dimming herself as a survival mechanism and literally a safety mechanism because it wasn't safe to be bigger. There was so much judgment from the stepmother. We'll dive into that a tiny bit more here. And this is a really lower feminine characteristic. And I would say as shifts in awareness are happening and more women are embodying their heart and more women are doing inner work to heal these layers of intergenerational trauma and to question what we've been taught is normal, we're seeing a lot more um, of this transition into it's safe to be myself. It's safe to show up fully. It's safe to be in my heart and to honor who I am. It's safe to be all of me and not be afraid of what people might say or think. But years ago, I can speak to my own experience. The number of like I had so many older women in my life who were embodying kind of the stepmother vibes in terms of parents, like mothers on I played a lot of competitive sports. And because everyone was like fighting so hard and in such a survival mode and so desperate for their own attention because they were starved for attention. These mothers who grew up without love and who had shut down their hearts and closed themselves off and now they're like fighting and judging and complaining and like condemning everyone else. The amount of toxicity that these mothers were embodying on a lot of the sports teams I played on was wild, like absolutely wild when I look back and reflect on it. And what I learned as a little girl was that being good at things was actually really harmful to me because taking up space, whether it was in sports and getting more playtime than someone else's daughter, the amount of drama and chaos that caused, and the amount of projections that then got thrown on me that as if I was like the target. And I was just trying to do my thing. I actually didn't even care about being there, but it became unsafe to do that or being good in school and like other mothers judging that or judging their own children or comparing, right? Being in like speakers club and introducing people and being on stages and doing these different things and like sharing my voice in that way. All these different ways that I was just doing what was coming natural and what felt like it made sense at the time. But if I wasn't receiving positive responses because that lower feminine archetype was threatened by it, then I received judgment or I received their own projections and shame. And I'm guessing there's probably a way that you can relate to this in your own life where it became unsafe for you to embody your fullness. And this we see a lot as the sisterhood wound, right, with women, where um, like women are in such a place of lack or judgment that they are then criticizing and judging and finger pointing, blaming, shaming. And so it's like you're scared to put yourself out there. You don't feel like you will be received. And this wound can go so deep. But the wild thing is, and the reason why I'm tying this into Disney movies or childhood programming in general, is that what a lot of people don't realize is that when something gets programmed in your subconscious, when you see this on TV shows as normal, and when it becomes a normal part of your reality, for the examples I just gave, where this became a pattern and it started to show up in multiple different areas, your brain is designed to continue to store these little things of proof, right? And to look for more proof of what it already believes. And if your brain already believes, oh, it's not safe for me to take up more space because this woman in my life or parent of someone else's or whoever it is, family member, aunt, like grandma, whoever is judging or being negative about it, and your brain sees that as a truth of like, it's not safe for me to do XYZ now, then you will continue to attract similar relationships, similar experiences, similar archetypes in your life who are mirroring back to you that exact belief. And most people just then continue to accept and believe that this is normal. This is why I'm so obsessed about doing the quantum healing work and doing the reprogramming, because if you hold this as a subconscious belief of this is how it is, this is how most women are, or this is just what I have to settle for, or if you hold it in your energetic signature, which is basically the way I'll describe it here is if you've got your aura or your energetic field, and this is something that has been kind of attached, it's been a part of your life for so long, you've continued to magnetize people or experiences that reflect it back to you, then it becomes really deeply ingrained in the core identity of how you see yourself. And as I said, you just start to go through life continuously attracting more of that. And it's once you start questioning these things, this is why everything I talk about always comes back to awareness as step number one. Because when you start to become aware of like, this is a pattern and I don't want it to continue, or this thing keeps showing up, or yeah, like I don't desire to hold back any longer because of these things that have happened before, whatever it is. But you start to become aware of like, this is what keeps being reflected to me. Where did it come from? What beliefs might I have that are causing this to continue to show up and be such a strong part in my life? And what maybe traumas did I go through that I haven't sat with and healed? What ways have I continued to just normalize this and accept it? And is there, something in my energetic field and my identity that is causing this to play out? So as long as I continue to have this, because as I said, so many different experiences had piled up over my life that it really didn't feel safe. It didn't feel like I'd be supported by other women because I had received so much judgment. And this can even be seeing women judging other women. So I wouldn't say that my mom judged me a lot, but she judged other people a lot and she judged herself a lot, which is also very similar to the evil stepmother. She was judging everyone and everything. She was just so unhappy, right? So she was just constantly projecting negativity everywhere. And when we see that, so seeing my mom judge someone else, it's constantly giving me filters that now I have to fit into this box or I'll be judged by her. she's judging someone else for doing this thing, then I'm compartmentalizing and going, well, if I want to be loved, I can't do that thing because if she's judging them for it and I'm doing it, then she'd be judging me too, right? And we end up creating all these conditions that we're not even consciously aware of, but now are influencing our life and our reality. So when you start to become aware of these things and then you start doing the healing work, the reprogramming work to shift out of it and create a new story for yourself and fill your own cup, give your inner child that love and realize like who I am is enough and it's safe to be me. And I'm not going to give any more power to women like this. Maybe there definitely are, it's not a maybe. There are definitely women still operating in a lower feminine programming. But if you don't give them power to dictate how you see yourself or how you show up, then you basically just close that chapter and you give yourself permission to shift into who it is you want to be. And as you do that work to program that out of your subconscious, so instead of it feeling so strong, so normalized, so common, then you start to see, actually, what if the loving, open-hearted feminine energy was normal? What if that had been more prominent in my childhood? What if that had been what the TV shows and the movies had programmed me to see? This beautiful, loving, kind, feminine energy. If that had been normal, how much differently would I show up? How much differently would I think of myself? How much safer would I feel with others? This is how we jump into a new timeline, because we're no longer sticking and identifying and holding to what we don't want. We're opening ourselves up to a new potential reality. And as we know through the quantum realm, there are infinite possible realities for how life can play out. There are infinite possible timelines. But what we're focusing on is what we end up creating more of. And that's why it's so important to stop focusing on what you don't want and start focusing and aligning mentally, emotionally, energetically, physically with what it is that you do want. So the more I started to program out what I thought was normal of the evil stepmother and that evil feminine energy who is like judging me constantly and doesn't want me to take up space because that's a threat to her. And then she feels less seen. If I'm feeling seen, now she feels like it's taking away from her, and so it's not safe for me, right? As I started shifting that, not only did I begin to attract more loving, kind, beautiful, feminine energy and friendships and connections of women who supported me and actually like helped call me forward and empower me to take up more space and be more seen. But I also just gave myself permission to do that naturally and to no longer be in that old program of fear and suppression. So this is something I teach in my quantum healing hypnosis bundles and helping you reprogram out the very limited programming that you didn't ask for. You didn't even know this was happening. You were just watching these movies, watching these things that were what was so-called normal. And your sponge subconscious was taking it in. And then as you got older, continuing to create from that space. So it's so empowering when we start to shift that. And I have a link down below for my quantum healing hypnosis courses if you want to know more about how this works and what it entails and the different ways it can support you. But you truly get to then become a conscious creator and shift what it is you're calling into your reality. So please don't keep thinking that that lower feminine is all that there is, and don't keep allowing past experiences, potentially, childhood memories or times of that trauma to keep you collapsed and keep you energetically closing off from showing up at your fullest, from being in your heart, from shining brighter and being this positive, beautiful force in the world. Okay? Because as we know, there's always going to be people judging, there's also always going to be people supporting. At the end of the day, it's which one we're giving more power to. And I know for myself, I've spent a lot of years giving more power to trying to please and conform for the people who are judging me and trying to avoid that judgment instead of giving the power to the people who are actually supporting me and who are accepting who I am and like loving who I am, and then allowing myself to accept and love and support who I am as well. And it all came from that really deep reprogramming, identity shifting, creating safety in my body and my nervous system to expand beyond the contraction that had been there before. So it all ties in together, but really just starting to take that extra awareness each day and notice, like, what do you believe to be true based on childhood, based on these movies, based on what has been a common theme for you in your life, asking yourself that question. What is it that I believe to be true? Do I believe that I just always attract these toxic relationships? Do I believe that I'm only worthy of this kind of treatment? Do I believe that all women are like this, or all men are like that, or that this is like the end all be all ultimate truth? Because that is the key to shifting your reality. Once you see that and you go, actually, that isn't the ultimate truth, or actually, I don't want to subscribe to that anymore, then you bring power back to yourself so you can start to shift and create something different. So, as I said, this is a huge part of the quantum healing work. I've also got incredible resources, mindset trainings, all about the reprogramming, and different quantum healing hypnosis recordings for you to check out and really start reprogramming on a deeper level. So you can check all those links out down below. And I hope this was helpful. I hope this helped illuminate how that negative, lower feminine energy may still be showing up and influencing you in your current reality, and reminding and empowering you that you don't need to stay there. You don't need to continue to accept that. And you can start to call in and co-create something so much better for yourself and for the world at large. Because as we keep shifting into a more divine feminine template, then these sort of things won't be programmed in anymore. They won't be normalized. Like normalized. And they won't stay as how we just think it is, which is how the next generation won't grow up believing that and then perpetuating that same trauma, that same pain, that same judgment. And it ripples out really beautifully with every single woman that shifts this and embodies something different. So I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed it, as always, please hit the thumbs up. It supports me and my channel, and it means a lot to know that you resonated and found this beneficial. And I will see you again soon.